Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, August 20th, 2018. I am Dave Biddle, but I'd be joined by Steve Helwagen. Steve, I thought for sure we would have a resolution to the Urban Meyer situation by now, and it's called Me Being Wrong. When do you expect this will wrap up? I mean, it has to wrap up this week. I know that the investigation was supposed to wrap up yesterday, so I'm guessing sometime this week. Do you have maybe a day that you could predict?
Well, Dave, we're kind of sitting here on a vigil right now. Supposedly, the law firm wrapped up their investigation and passed off their findings to the committee yesterday or first thing today. And then the committee was going to write its report, I guess, based on whatever the information was, and pass that on to President Drake, who would then schedule a Board of Trustees meeting at some point to present the report, the findings, and discuss any kind of disciplinary action they may or may not want to take against Urban Meyer. We've heard no news of the meeting yet. They usually, by state law, have to give you 24 hours notice and a time and a place where the Board of Trustees are going to meet. Typically, they might meet at the Longaberger Alumni House, I suppose, would be the place, or maybe the Fawcett Center, hard to say. But at any rate, I've heard nothing about that yet. Every passing hour where we don't hear anything about a meeting pushes that 24 hours into the future. So I'm thinking at this point, late Tuesday or sometime Wednesday is when this thing may finally be resolved. And I think that's what everybody at this point is looking forward to, is that this episode is put into the rearview mirror. I think Ohio State has been very diligent with its use of the law firm and the committee. And President Drake, if you take him at face value on Friday, said he was keeping an open mind. I mean, I think he'd be living in a vacuum not to hear all the stuff that we've heard that's come out over the last month, and not to form some type of an opinion on it. But he says he's keeping an open mind. I think that that's what Ohio State fans and people that want to keep Urban Meyer as the head coach just need to continue to bank on that they're going to be fair in this whole assessment. But I think the question that you have to ask is this one of those watershed moments like 1961 with the decision not to go to the Rose Bowl, where the academia people take back control of athletics? And is this going to be considered what that is? I mean, you think about all the bad publicity Ohio State's gotten outside the state of Ohio. I've been kind of quietly keeping track of all the different columns and different things that have been written about Ohio State and Urban Meyer. And public opinion outside the state of Ohio is running about 20-1 against Urban Meyer. Inside the state of Ohio, it's obviously a little better for him. But, so I think maybe these academics like President Drake and the people who sit 5 miles up in the air and look down at the university and that type of thing may use this as their moment to claim control of something they feel that's run amok. But, whether that's going to happen or not remains to be seen. But I honestly haven't heard or seen anything that rises to the level that Coach Meyer should lose his job. That's just my opinion. Maybe the committee, the law firm, whoever, will come back with some type of damning evidence, some type of smoking gun that Urban Meyer should have done this, should have done that. He did this, he did that. And at that point, it would be crystal clear that, yes, he doesn't deserve to remain as the head coach at Ohio State. But I haven't seen that yet, Dave, so that's kind of where I'm at on it. And as I said, watch the time element with the Board of Trustees. From the moment that they announce they're having a meeting the following day, that's when the sands are going to hit through that hourglass, and President Drake will have to move closer to probably the toughest decision he's going to make in his professional career.
You and I are in agreement that Urban Meyer should keep his job. I'm getting a little concerned that he'll at least be facing a suspension. He might not keep his job because this keeps going on. And, again, I think he should keep his job. But here's why I'm concerned. The latest report from Brett McMurphy, we'll get to that in a little bit as far as, like, if he should have put some of that stuff out. But the fact that, Zach Smith had sex with a university employee inside of his office, inside of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, according to the reporting, so I should say alleged to have done that, and they reassigned the woman to another department within the university. That doesn't look good. I think you kind of alluded to this. I don't really trust the administration. Like, you go back to 1961, don't let them go to the Rose Bowl. Like, I know it's not the same people, although some of the people on the committee were still alive then. Many of them were. But I'm just saying, just the history of Ohio State, I mean, my gosh, when I first heard about the Rose Bowl story in 1961, not letting Ohio State go to the Rose Bowl, I was like a little kid. I'm like, what? That can't do that. That doesn't make any sense. And I just do not trust the administration to do what is the right thing here. I could see them cowering to public pressure. So, again, I think Urban Meyer should keep his job. But I got to be honest, Steve, I'm worried about it. Just your take. What do you think will happen?
Oh, man. Well, I think barring any revelations, I think, they're to the point now, I think that it would well be within their purview to suspend him for a game or two. I think about this. I mean, this has been a very public flogging for Urban Meyer, and I think he's such a proud guy, such a confident guy. And does this change him, or does he come back at this like the Bulldog in a lot of ways that he kind of portrays a lot of times? He's a football man's football guy, So, he didn't play lineman, but at the same time, he's a football guy, and he respects football guys, and he has the respect of many football guys. So, is this going to be business as usual, that I'm going to handle football over here and you guys handle everything that's PC over there, or is he going to, I wouldn't even say the words mellow out a little bit, or is he going to adapt his methods to 2018 that, this is a different time and a different place where you've got tremendous oversight just in terms of social media and people that are constantly watching and viewing what you're doing. So I think bigger than the fact that it could be 1 game, 2 games, whatever it is, I think it's very much out there, like, what kind of Urban Meyer are they going to get back from this? Have his wings been clipped to the point that his heart won't be in this for Ohio State anymore? And we were joking about this on the beat. He always wanted to coach Joe Burrow as his quarterback. Is he going to be the LSU coach this time a year from now because he and Ohio State decide to part ways and Ed Orgeron doesn't get it done? And, I'm thinking about top 10 programs, not teams. The AP top 10 comes out today. That's not what I'm talking about, because you're going to have teams in the AP top 10 that aren't necessarily top 10 programs. LSU is a top 10 program. Auburn, Alabama, Florida, USC, Texas. Which of those top 10 programs, like Ohio State, Michigan, maybe Penn State, et cetera, need a coach? I'd say LSU is probably at or near the top of that list, if not USC. Now, I've just spent 2 minutes talking about Urban Meyer coaching somewhere else, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. I mean, to what degree does he feel his wings have been clipped at Ohio State now? That's another important part of this. But you get what I'm saying. This is a change. It's not going to be business as usual as it was. And what's very unfortunate to me, Dave, as I bring it all the way back around the bend, is these kids, they're very resilient. Dwayne Haskins, Nick Bosa, all these kids that are on the team this year, J.K. Dobbins, they may still win whatever number of games they were destined to win, but this lends an era of dysfunction to this year's team, because if he's coming back, you're going to drop a coach into a locker room, into a huddle, into a meeting room where he hasn't been for 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks of the season. And to me, that just reeks of dysfunction. Does he make a mistake somewhere along the line by assuming thought the spring was how it was going to be in the fall? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Has he been kept abreast of what's been going on? His son-in-law, Corey Dennis, is one of the support staff members. You got to figure their own relationship. He's a conduit back to what's happening at Ohio State. But very unfortunate, the whole situation. These kids, resilient as they may be, you're caught in the middle of this, and I don't like this. I just, this uncertainty. We're inside 2 weeks to the first game. Oregon State was 1-11 last year, yes. But the first game is the first step to the second game, which is the step to the third game. This isn't everything's part of everything, as our friend Jim Preston used to say. You don't want them getting out of the gate, stumbling out of the starting gate because things weren't right. And to me, that's what this looks like to me. This has got every bit the look of something that could go sideways. I don't know if it's going to go Luke Fickell 6 and 7 sideways, because you do have all of your personnel. That team operated without, key guys for half the season. But, yeah, I'm a little concerned, is what I would say, in the short term and the long term.
Yeah, final thing before I let you go, as I mentioned earlier, just what do you make of Brett McMurphy's his latest report that came out Friday evening? It detailed, obviously, a lot of personal and fallacious things about Zach Smith. Again, I think some of it was fair. I think if Zach Smith was having an affair with the Woody Hayes Athletics Center, I'm not saying it was Urban Meyer's job to know about that. And so I think Urban should keep his job. I'm just talking about these, the people making a decision that I don't trust. I could see them looking at that as, you're having, sex in your office or cheating on your wife with a member of the university, and then she gets assigned to a different part. I can just see that. So I'm okay with that part of I think that's relevant. I really do. The other stuff, the sex toys, the pictures of his genitalia for the family-friendly, sometimes the family-friendly show here in the Bucknuts Morning Pass. Sometimes we kind of teeter on the brink of not being family-friendly. But fair reporting in your book or no, Steve?
Well, I think things that happened within his purview as an Ohio State assistant coach, things that happened on campus, on university property, at the practice facility. I think a lot of that's fair game. I think, did he take it a little bit too far with some of the very salacious details? I will give him credit. At least he didn't name the person who had been reassigned. He, in the previous report about the 2009 incident, he put the name of somebody who was an otherwise innocent party in the whole thing in that report. I didn't like that. So he at least showed one small modicum of restraint. But it is obvious that he has long past moved objectivity on this whole situation. I think when Urban Meyer made that comment of who makes this up or who would make a story like this up, that's when all bets were off at that point. And McMurphy came at him with every bit of every ounce of being in his porn stash body there. So I don't know what to say other than, let's get this over with as soon as humanly possible so that they can go on, everybody can go on with their lives, and Brett McMurphy can go back to writing about North Texas scheduling a series with Central Florida or, meaningless stuff like that. I never thought Brett McMurphy was really anything special when he was at ESPN. I'm going to get this off my chest. He was a guy that the producers and the analysts who covered the games, who got to know the coaches, or the programmers who would schedule the games on ESPN, when there was something they needed to have out there, they would hand it to him. He rarely, if ever, dug up anything on his own. And that's been the case again. Someone, Tom Herman, whoever it may be, that put this whole thing in his lap 2 months ago, and he took off and he ran with it. I don't think even he knew where it was going to end up. And then when somebody crapped on him in the process of this, boy, oh boy, did he get upset and really go off the deep end on it. And of course, he had no check and balance in the entire thing. He wasn't working for anybody. Now he's working for Stadium, and they've lent their credibility to this salacious report. I mean, it's straight out of the National Enquirer. So I have never, and I this is how I felt. I mean, was I sad to see somebody lose their job? Yeah, certainly, but that didn't surprise me in the least when his name was on the list, because he'd never done anything to move any product when he was at ESPN. Realizing the best way to do it is to go the low road, and this is what you get. You reap what you sow. So, he's being regarded as a Pulitzer Prize winner outside the state of Ohio. I don't quite see it that way. That's my opinion on Brett McMurphy.
Great stuff from Steve Helwagen. I appreciate it, Steve, and thanks to all the listeners out there for tuning in to the show. I appreciate that as well. Hope everyone has a great day. I know we're going to have a great day if this gets resolved in a good way for Ohio State. Let's hear that Buckeye swag that's in band in the land.